really strong team. Together, they represent what a wonderful Jewish couple is.
If they say they're going to do something, they're going to do it. And they're going to do it not just well, they're going to do it, exceptionally well.
There's only a handful in this community, and those two are absolutely two that are always there.
Whether it's the nurturing of our young people, the caring of our elderly, or any of the causes so important to Jewish Buffalo, David and Janet Desmon have been a steady force for positive change. It was a partnership first formed at the Wharton School, where both were pursuing their MBAs. David recalls handing out name tags at an orientation.
She mentioned her name, and I said, I don't have your name tag. You're probably on the table over there where the wives and dates are. To which she replied, I'm neither a wife nor a date.
After all, in those days, few women had risen to such an elite academic level, especially in business and finance.
I asked her what she was doing at Wharton, and she said she was looking for a husband, and I wished her luck. That was it.
Well, it was a rude question, don't you think?
And so began a powerful partnership.
I think the two of them balance each other so beautifully, but, and maybe Janet says a lot of the stuff that David's just not going to say because she'll say it, and he's, and he can just sort of be like the smoother, he's like the butter knife, he'll just make it nice.
The perfect pairing. Janet was an only child born in Jersey City, New Jersey. Her family moved around, even living in Puerto Rico for a time. And David, a Buffalonian born and bred. Nichols School educated, his mother was a wonderful volunteer, and his father, Joe Desmon, was president of Temple Beth Zion and of the Jewish Federation. Following in his father's footsteps, David would one day serve both those institutions in the same capacity. Joe Desmon was also the first non-Catholic president of Trocaire College, where a boardroom is named for him. David remains a supporter of the college to this day.
My father always told me that you got to give back to your community. This is the community where you made your living, and this is the community that you should continue to support.
It was that love of community that ultimately lured David and his young family back here. The couple was living downstate when daughter Stephanie was born.
And she went on maternity leave.
I'm still in my maternity leave.
44 years.
44 years.
This is her 44th year of her
Just
maternity
about now.
Which is a great line.
Then came son Jeremy. But there was something missing living and working in the New York metropolitan area. The Desmonds wanted to invest in where they lived, to give back, to be part of something, someplace. So early in 1977, yes, that year, when the city had just garnered worldwide attention for a certain blizzard, David spoke with Janet about moving back home to Buffalo. Janet said, okay, if you throw in a fur coat for those Buffalo winters.
It was just a raccoon. I was not a high-maintenance girl, but, but it was warm.
And a warm reception awaited them. But the greatest beneficiaries of the Desmonds moved back to Buffalo? Western New York.
Well, without people like David and Janet, there wouldn't be much of a Jewish community.
Volunteerism came to define them here, their imprint on just about everything. David brought a love, dedication, and loyalty for Temple Beth Zion, a place that had been part of his family for more than 70 years.
I'm one of the co-chairs of a legacy society, so to help encourage members of the congregation to make legacy gifts.
David was probably the greatest president that we had in the 20 years that I was a member of the Temple.
After the Temple faced challenging times, David was one of the visionaries that helped right the ship.
We needed a leader for the Renaissance that we experienced starting in the mid-90s, and David filled that role.
Understanding the Temple was an inheritance to be passed on from generation to generation, l'adore v'adore. And to ensure that next generation is armed with the tools and knowledge needed, the Desmonds invested in education. Supporters of Say Yes, the program that helps young people go to college, those who may not otherwise be able to afford it.
And you figure that if they have more education, they'll be better contributors to society.
serving on the WNED Foundation Board, ensuring quality programming, helping to start the monthly Jewish Journal of Western New York, and the PJ Library, where books are provided free to kids. And of course, Camp Centerland.
I wish that everybody in the community could see everything that goes on out here.
What goes on is surely no secret to daughter Stephanie. Now living in Baltimore, her own children come back here every summer for camp, for the same experiences she had.
Want to come sit on my lap? Want to come hug me?
And for a chance to be with their grandma and grandpa for 3 weeks every summer.
My kids absolutely love it, and they're very close to my parents as a result, and I think it's a really wonderful experience.
We like spending time with them every summer. It's sort of like turning into sort of a tradition, I guess.
The JCC's summer camp is just part of the offerings of the Jewish Community Center, where Janet has made a huge impact.
She's a very important part of the JCC.
Whether it's the day camp, the center's operations, or fundraising, friends say Janet does it all.
She gives project direction, and she goes after it, and she gets it done. And if things are moving slowly, she just gets it done.
A woman not looking for praise or attention, giving her time, talents, and intellect for the greater good.
My mom is a force of nature. She can get anything done that anybody asks her to. So she took that energy and that brain power, and she really channeled it into being a part of the Jewish community and helping the Jewish community do so many different things.
Janet was also president of the Federation, at the helm during 9/11. And with the Federation dinner the following day, she helped guide the organization through a challenging period in our history.
George Stephanopoulos was supposed to speak, and he couldn't get here. And
Or he felt he
had to work. He had to write. And so, who's it, Paul Bagala?
So we've somehow got Paul
Bagala, who had to drive up here because there were no planes. And there was, should we have the dinner? Should we not have the dinner? And everybody sort of felt like we wanted to come together.
10 years later, David would also become president of the Federation, bringing his own skills and leadership style to the table.
He's just a kind person. So to have somebody who's really smart, who understands a balance sheet, and has a knowledge of the history of the community.
My dad is an incredibly kind and caring person. He is a friend of everyone.
And loyal. The institutions important to him as a child remain so today. One of the Jewish community's highest honors is the Nathan Benderson Award, and Janet was the recipient of this honor in 2006. As a couple, they were honored with the Community Relations Award by the American Jewish Committee.
They're the kind of people that just were exactly what my dad was all about.
Raising the bar with little fanfare.
I thought you killed those deer.
Just kidding, they just keep coming back.
Armed with a sharp wit, attention to detail, honesty, and integrity in all they do, they bring those qualities, that expertise to organizations like Musical Fair.
And when you talk to David, you see somebody who has that financial acumen, but you also see someone who really loves theater.
And those not-for-profits often rely on people like David for their connections and ability to friend raise.
And it was people like David and those contacts, and not only stepping forward personally and individually, but also then reaching out into the greater community.
The Desmond son Jeremy is an award-winning musical theater writer and lyricist. Imagine the joy when one of his productions hit the stage at Musical Fair.
It was a fun show. You know, it was a production that people enjoyed, and yeah, I think they were thrilled.
In the 19th year of a 20-year plan to become rich and famous.
Western New York is certainly richer for having the Desmonds, who stress endowment giving.
Bequests in the will, charitable remainder trusts or other kinds of trust vehicles, giving appreciated stock, the use of a donor-advised fund like the foundation offers.
For the people who made their money here, they should be endowing their gifts so that, this is where they made their money. So this is where they should give back.
and making an impression with our future leaders.
We need them to, in order for those organizations to continue, we need their support and we need their participation, because otherwise they're not going to be there for their children.
And all of those meetings, projects, fundraisers taught their own children that we are all part of something bigger, that it's not just important to be good, it's important to do good. And knowing what you've made, you can always work to make better.
They have taught me about tikkun olam, about repairing the world, and it's very important to me, in very small ways, of course, to try to make the world around me a better place.
I couldn't have asked for two better parents, two better role models, two more supportive and loving people to help shape my view of the world.
It's about the Buffalo community. It's about doing the right thing. It's about helping other people. It's about the way you live your life.
It's about how the Desmonds have made that life better for all of us.
Thank you for the time and the expertise and the fun that you shared with all of us at Musical Fair Theater.
You're both two of my very favorite people, and thank you for everything.
On behalf of my family, our community, I want to thank you and Janet for everything you've done.
There's nobody that deserves it more than the two of you.
Mom, Dad, congratulations. I love you both so much, and I'm so sorry I'm not there to share tonight with you.
You have taught us so much about what it means to be good people, and we hope that we can live up to what you have modeled for us.
Thank you, Mima and Papa.
Yes, thank you, David and Janet Desmond, for all that you do.